watching the Jennylyn Show, and I'm Jennylyn Gleave, your host. And tonight, my guest is another fascinating person. His name is Mr. Jang Jaswal, and he has a lot to share with us today. Thank you so much for coming to my show.
Thank you for having me here, Jen.
I heard of you through a friend, and he told me a little bit about you, and then I met you in the clinic where I work. And ever since then, I've wanted this opportunity, and I'm glad that it's happened now, because I want to learn about some of your fascinating experiences that you've had. And so I wanted to start with your medical condition that led to a heart and a kidney transplant at the same time. Is this what happened?
Sure. I migrated to this country in 1985. I was in late 20s.
Yeah.
And at that time, I didn't have very good habits. I was smoking pack a day.
Wow.
I was eating all the unhealthy food, all the fast food. I got hooked up to drinking Coke and burgers here. And in 89, I was only 32 years old when I had my first heart attack.
32?
Yes.
Wow.
And at that time, I couldn't even imagine having a heart attack, so I didn't know what was going through with me till I ended up in the hospital. And then one thing led to another. The blocking of my arteries became very consistent. Every 2 years, 3 years, I'll have blockages. Over a period of time, I had like 20 stents put in me. I had like about 10 heart attacks. I had 2 strokes, and I had 1 triple bypass surgery. By 2010, my kidneys totally failed. I was on peritoneal dialysis. And after doing 2 years of peritoneal dialysis, I was put on hemodialysis. I was on hemodialysis for about a year.
Yes.
And then I was transferred to heart transplant unit. My case was forwarded to them. I didn't qualify for heart transplant at all at that time. But doctors in UCSF took a chance on me. He put a kind of artificial heart, which is called as left ventricle assist device. It's a big machine kind of a thing.
Yes.
And they implanted it inside me, and I survived on that machine for 5 months.
5 months?
Yes. I was all the time, the machine was powered with batteries, or at night time I had to hook myself into AC, into the socket to recharge the batteries, and that's how I survived.
Oh my gosh, sounds like a bionic man.
I was really bionic man because I was being supported by 2 machines, one heart machine and then the dialysis machine. And after this implant of LVAD, I gained some strength, and I qualified for transplant, and soon I got my organs. In November 2013, I had a heart and kidney transplant simultaneously.
Wow. Wow, that's I cannot believe it. You're a strong man.
That's what people tell me.
Yes.
But I did what I had to do at that time.
Right. So, but during this operation, you died.
Yes, it's a very routine procedure. When they clip your heart, they take your heart out and they put the donor's heart in.
Yes.
Which is obviously not functioning at that time.
Yes.
And then they start your heart with like electric shock kind of a thing. And by the time they take you off the machines and they give you a shock, for that period of time, all the heart transplant patients, they are dead.
Yes, I've seen them do that.
Yeah, and so it depends how soon your heart starts after they give you a shock. So in some cases it starts soon, in others it takes a little time. So we all flatline, and I flatlined too.
So were you told that you had died, or do you just think this was doctors who...
I was told
that you were dead?
I was, because I checked into it, I inquired them, and they told me.
So during the time that you were dead, what happened?
Yes, it was very interesting experience I had. I cannot relate exactly when I died during my surgery,
Yeah.
but it happened sometime during my surgery. I found myself a totally different place. It was kind of a valley kind of a place, and it was surrounded by small hills. It seemed similar, like I've been at that place before in my life, and there was a source of light on one side, and where I was, there were clouds on the top, and I had some questions. Some questions were going through my mind. I was communicating with somebody who was at a superior level than me, I would say, of somebody of authority.
Yes.
And all the communication was taking telepathically. It wasn't nothing. I wasn't there physically, but I could feel my presence there. And some of the questions going in my mind was, where am I? And who am I? Kind of a thing.
Yes.
And I was told that all the answers are within me. I was told that look for the answers within you. You have all the answers.
Did you ask a question? Why did they tell you this?
Because the questions were coming in my mind telepathically, and as soon as the question will pop up,
like
answer will come
yes.
straight to me, even before my thought would be finished. Answer will pop up in my mind.
Right.
And as I told, where I was, there was kind of a shade at that time. It was overcast by the clouds. And the other thing I was told during this experience was, of course, telepathically, that I'm not the center of the universe. I'm not, and then my presence goes in between the hills where I saw all the planets passing by, all the galaxies floating around in the space, and that made me realize that I'm just a speck in the whole universe. I'm not as important as I always thought, that I controlled every situation before, kind of a thing. I wanted to stay on top of the things. But I guess that experience put me in the right perspective, that I'm just an infinitesimally small part of the whole universe. And soon the clouds which were overcast on my head, they started shattering away, and light started falling straight on me. And when the light started falling on me, that was the most, how should I put it in words? Was the wonderful experience, peaceful, loving, blissful experience of my life. I have never felt that good in my life. All the thoughts in my mind stopped, all the questions, they were gone. There were no thoughts coming to me, and I was totally at peace. And soon, telepathically, it was communicated to me that it was not my time. At that time, I was just getting dissolved in the light which was falling on me.
So you think when you first got there, it was a dark experience, and then the experience became light after you were told that you were not it, you were not that important?
The way I look at it was I was there,
yes.
and slowly the clouds starting, or the darkness started going away, and enlightenment started coming in. Or, yeah.
Got it. So, did you, because different people relate to this near-death experiences, it's all, everyone's experience seems different. Did you see God? Did you see angels? Did you see any of this stuff?
No, I don't profess to have seen God.
Okay.
I didn't see no angels.
Okay.
All I saw was the light at the time.
Yes.
And of course, I was talking to somebody. I was communicating with somebody.
But you didn't see them?
I didn't see him or her. But I could feel somebody's presence there. And whoever was communicating with me was at a lot superior conscious level than I was at.
Yes. Were you a believer before, or are you someone who...
No, I never believed in God, and I was like an opponent of a God, you can say. I was a firm atheist. I come from a very strong Hindu family.
Yes.
Maybe they were too much into rituals and pujas kind of a thing, which turned me away in my childhood.
Yes.
Moreover, I have a science background. I did my graduate studies in genetics and biochemistry, very objective person.
Yes.
And I didn't believe in anything which I cannot feel, touch, or smell kind of a thing.
How did this experience change you spiritually?
See, when I came out of the anesthesia, the next day after the surgery, all of a sudden I was chanting Sanskrit mantras, and which I hated even to hear those mantras. In my life.
And you were chanting
And I was chanting them.
Wow.
If before you would have come to me and talked about God, I would have professed and loudly raised my opinion that there's no God, there's no life after death. Those kind of views I had in my mind.
But now you do?
But totally, I have changed my perception totally now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that everyone who's gone and comes back, they come back with a different message, because everybody's individual experience is different, but it's all to tell us there is a God, there is a higher power. Do you feel that you were taken there because of your disbelief, and do you feel that you actually had this experience? Because there are those skeptics who say that people who've experienced this as a result of the narcotics or their unconscious state. Can you speak to that?
Whatever happened,
yes.
I know some people who tell me that I was dreaming, or it was an effect of anesthesia, that kind of a thing. But scientifically talking, when they give you anesthesia, I talked to a few anesthesiologists too, it is supposed to numb your mind too. You're not supposed to think anything.
Okay.
Because pain is a perception of mind.
Right.
So they numb your mind.
So you can't feel.
You can't feel, you can't think, you can't dream anything. And still this experience is very vivid in my mind. It happened during that time. So the other thing is, even if it was dreaming, or if it was under the influence of drugs, whatever I learned from this experience is very important, is the most beautiful thing which happened to me.
Tell me what that is again. I just want to be clear.
Yes, like I was told that all the answers are within me, right? I don't have to go look outside. And the other thing that before I was a very proud man, and I was a very controlling person. You can ask my wife, my kids.
I'll ask her after. Just kidding.
And so I always thought that I was the most intelligent person on the face of earth, and physically I'm the most strongest man. Those kind of notions I had.
Yeah.
So I learned humility through this experience, and I guess to know the life, humility is one of the things which helps in developing a personality or to know the real things.
I have been following this phenomenon since I was a very young girl because I really believe in it. And I really respect people who've gone and come back. And I know that a lot of people have their own explanations for it because there's some people who just won't believe. But this was your experience. This is what happened to you.
Yes.
I love it when someone who didn't believe has this experience and they come back and they are now believers. I've read a book that was written by a doctor who discredited everyone's experience as a neurological experience that they go through when they're in these situations. And he was taken to heaven and has come back and is now trying to correct what he has taught in the past. And people don't want to believe him.
See, I guess one thing is when you go through these kind of experiences, like I went through with my health issues, my medical issues, plus the near-death experience I had, it puts the things, I guess, in the right perspective for us. Before I was running around all the materialistic things, I had, like I told, I had a different perspective on life altogether. And I was far away from reality of life. And the reality of life now is to realize our own selves. Like I was told in my experience.
Yes.
Like answers are within. So realizing ourselves is what life is all about, rather than looking outside and...
So, you think that before this, because I'm listening to you and I'm thinking about myself, I'm supposed to look inside for the answers. I guess it's difficult to understand what that means if you haven't.
Okay. We all, I give you a simple example. Like we all live under, we have a mask on us when we live in this society. We portray something else which we are not. We try to hide the things from others all the time. I don't know about others, but it's true about myself, right?
Yes.
And so we fail to face the realities. So when we look within ourselves, what we are doing, right? Why we are angry at somebody, why we are behaving this way or that way, right? Why we hate other people, right? All these answers we have to find from within, rather than somebody else coming and telling us.
Right, I get it.
Like, okay, we always talk bad about. It's common with me. Like I'll talk bad about somebody. Why I talk bad about somebody is, like, because I want to be superior than that person. I want to prove myself that I'm better. That's why I'm talking bad about somebody else.
That's true.
Right? I wanted to act like, oh, I'm very strong because I'm scared of something.
I get it.
Those kind of answers we have to get from within.
Like why we judge people.
Why we judge people, why we act, why we behave, why we do the things we are doing.
Right. So you essentially got a new lease on life.
Oh,
you
definitely.
You got a new kidney, you got a new heart, and then you got an awakening, a spiritual awakening.
Yes.
How is your life different?
It's totally different now, entirely different. Physically, as I mentioned, like I couldn't walk 2 steps at a time.
Wow.
I couldn't get off the chair without getting lightheaded or having shortness of breath, right? And on a very good day, I would walk like about 5 steps. That would be a good day for me. And all the time, like I told earlier, hooked onto the machines. So at one stage, I couldn't even eat.
Did you ever want to die? Because that must have been such a horrible existence.
At one stage, I wanted nature to take its own course. That was my phrase in those days, that I don't want to go through all this, why I'm prolonging, because quality of life was not good.
Right.
But then one of my doctors, he drove sense in me. He told me, he goes, when I asked him how long I can survive without medication and all that, he goes, you're the most selfish person I have known. you don't love anybody, you don't love your kids, you don't love your wife, because you are thinking about yourself. And that drove sense into me. And that's my thinking totally changed.
That is great. Great doctor.
Yeah, I still, I remember each and every word he said even today. And today I'm here due to his lecture.
Well, that is wonderful. And it's always great when someone has left an indelible mark with an amazing result.
Yeah.
So now that you have a new lease on life, what are your plans? And I know you took a trip to India that had another spiritual element to it, and we'll get to that before we're through. But what's the most beautiful thing about the changes in your life now? Because they sound like great changes.
See, these days I'm feeling more free. That's the change which has happened to me, in addition to all the physical things which have happened. Like, I'm not tied to anything. That's how I feel. I'm just like a free person. And I do whatever I feel like in a good way.
Yes.
Like, I have been traveling a lot lately. I never camped in my life, I just tell you. And this summer, I camped out for 10 days
That
in the
is
national
so great.
parks. See, all the time I was on run. From here, run to Los Angeles, drive. I have to make it in 5 hours, 6 hours, those kind of things. Now I'm taking life very easily. I just go, stop by, enjoy the beauty of nature. I look at the beauty in everything, in everything.
Right.
Life has totally turned around, and all of a sudden, I'm not a grouchy man no more. Everything is so pleasant around.
I have to ask you this. Have you, since you have had all these transformations, have you thought of ways that you can have an impact on other people who are in the place where you were?
See, with I work a lot with American Heart Association, National Kidney Foundation, and Donor Network. These organizations where I go, by telling my story, I inspire the people and to take care of their health and to donate organs, all those kind of things. And people listen to me because I talk from my personal experience to them, and when they look at they put a face on the story, kind of a thing, and they do. I have registered a lot of people as donors.
So now you have to be very careful with what you eat. You have a lot of dietary restrictions.
I do have a lot of them. Basically, it's I avoid eating oil, salt, and sugars. These are the three things I avoid. Otherwise, I eat almost everything.
Okay, that's wonderful. So now what the things you couldn't do in the beginning, you've learned what was not serving your life.
Yes.
And now you know what you shouldn't do, and you can enjoy the rest of your life.
Yes, and now I realize that before I used to take life for granted.
Yes.
And now I do understand the significance, importance of life, and each breath I'm taking.
You don't take it for granted.
No.
So you went to India, and while you were in India, you met somebody that was very important. Who is this person? And tell me how the meeting has impacted you.
The purpose of my visiting India was just to wander around and ask people, because India is considered a place of saints and sages and wise people. And I just wanted to go there and talk about the experience and mainly how I can get into that frame of mind, that state again or permanently. We went to Dharamsala, McLeodganj, where the residence of the Dalai Lama is. Unfortunately, we couldn't meet Dalai Lama because he was sick. But we did meet some other lamas, then we met some saints, and we met a lot of people on the streets, some tourists, and we talked about this topic, about spirituality and my experience and what it meant, because I wanted to intake all of my experience and fully absorb it. And it really helped me. I was talking to this Swami, and he told me that the experiences, we cannot put them into words.
But you can share the lessons.
Yes.
Right?
And moreover, the experiences, they come and go. Right. So there's no point in remembering the experiences, but the lessons are the most important thing. Whatever we get from those experiences, we should stick on to those experiences. Those lessons. Yes. And like the lessons, as we've been talking about that I'm not the center of the universe, right? And all the answers are within me. And that's what I asked some of the people, enlightened people, about those questions, and they said, yes, definitely meditation would help me a lot to get into that state. Why meditation? Because when we meditate, we block all our senses at that time. Like most of the time,
I don't mean to cut you, but we're almost out of time. Can you believe it? We're down to 2 minutes.
Okay.
So before we wrap this up, what message would you like to leave with my viewers?
Okay. Now, we should meditate for one, for sure, because it helps us to get to a I don't know.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. You meditate to quiet the mind, you said.
Yeah. You quieten your mind, and once you quieten your mind, you quieten your, you open your mind to supernatural, to other powers.
Awesome. I am so grateful to you for taking the time and coming here and sharing this story. And I'm hoping I know you've done another show like this with my friend Mel, and hopefully you've done it with other people, because I think a story like yours should be shared, because you never know who will hear it and will be encouraged from all of your suffering. And I look at life this way. If you share those things that are good, bad, and ugly, you never know who you can encourage with your story. So thank you so much for coming on my show.
Thank you very much.
I wish you many years of healthy life with your new kidney and your new heart and all the wonderful things that you wanted to do. I hope you get to do them now. And I thank you so much for watching the Jennylyn Show once again. I am hoping that this inspiring story will touch you in some way. And I will see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.